Some days you can feel trouble coming before it even arrives. That afternoon, the sky was clear, but my nerves were stormy. I tried to shake off the feeling as I drove Maya to my father's house, but it clung to me like a shadow. It was 4 p.m., 2 hours before her dance recital, and I was doing my best to keep things light. "Remember? Grandpa's picking you up at 5:30, I reminded her, gently straightening the garment bag that held her precious costume. "Don't take it out until you're at the theater, okay?" Maya nodded, her face serious but calm. "I know, Mom. I'll be careful." She was only 11, but sometimes she seemed older than me, always responsible, always thinking ahead. She hugged the bag to her chest like it was made of gold. My father opened the door with a big smile. And his wife Brenda stood right behind him, her arms folded. "There's our little dancer," my father said, pulling Maya into a hug. "Ready for the big show?" Maya's eyes sparkled. "So ready. I have a solo this year." Brenda's voice was sweet, but her eyes were cold. "A solo. How nice." "Amanda's in the chorus, of course, but that's fine. Not everyone can be the star." Amanda. Her daughter was also 11, also in the same dance company. But her role was smaller and her costume was much simpler, half the price of Maya's. I checked my phone, pretending to be in a hurry. "I have to run to a work thing. Emergency client meeting." "Dad, you'll make sure she gets there on time." "Of course," he said, waving me off. "Go handle your business." I kissed Maya's forehead and left, but my stomach was already tight with worry. I'd had a bad feeling all week about leaving Maya alone with Brenda. Too many accidents had happened lately, Maya's science project, falling and breaking. Her new jacket ruined with bleach. Her birthday cake knocked to the floor before the party. But I told myself I had no choice. I had a meeting I couldn't miss, or at least that's what I told my father. The truth was, my client meeting wasn't urgent. What really mattered was the appointment I'd made for 3 p.m. at First National Bank. For 5 years. I'd been quietly paying my father's mortgage $2,800 every month, plus taxes and insurance. He thought I didn't know about his business failing, but I knew everything. I was the one keeping him afloat while he pretended to be fine. Brenda had no idea. She thought they were living comfortably, that my father was a successful contractor who owned his home. The truth was, the house was mortgaged to the max. His credit was ruined, and without my help, they would have lost everything years ago. I sat in the bank manager's office, my hands steady. "I want to stop the automatic payments to David Morrison's mortgage account. Effective immediately." The manager, Sandra, looked at her screen. "You've been making these payments for 63 months. That's $176,400. Plus another $15,000 for taxes and insurance. May I ask why you're stopping now?" I took a breath. Because he forgot what I was doing for him. Because his wife has been cruel to my daughter. Because I'm tired of being taken for granted. Sandra nodded. "The account will show a missed payment in 30 days. After 90 days, foreclosure begins. This will destroy his credit. He'll lose the house." "I know," I said. I signed the papers. There would be no warning, no grace period. No chance for my father to fix things before the consequences hit. I left the bank at 4:15 and drove back toward my father's house. Arriving at 4:45, Maya's recital started at 6 o'clock. We needed to be at the theater by 5:30 for costume and makeup. I walked in and heard crying. Maya was in the living room, her costume spread out on the coffee table. It was royal blue velvet, hand-bedded with crystals, custom-made for her solo. It had cost $385. Now it was ruined, covered in streaks of red acrylic paint. My heart dropped. "What happened?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm even though my hands were shaking. Brenda appeared in the kitchen doorway, holding a paint can and brush. "It was an accident," she said, not sounding sorry at all. "I was touching up the trim in the hallway. Maya's garment bag was hanging on the doorknob. The can tipped over. The paint must have gotten inside the bag. These things happen." I looked at the bag. It had been zipped shut. "Really?" I said, my voice tight. Brenda shrugged. "You should have bought 2 costumes." That's what responsible parents do. Always have a backup for emergencies. My father was sitting on the couch watching TV. He looked over, saw the mess, and actually laughed. She's got a point, sweetheart. Always good to have a spare. Maya looked at me, her eyes full of tears. This was her first solo. She had practiced for months. The recital started in just over an hour, and there was no way to replace the costume. It's no time to fix it. Come on, Maya, get your things, I said softly. But the recital, she started. I'll handle it. Let's go. In the car, Maya cried quietly. I drove her to the dance studio, explained to the director what happened, and watched as Maya was reassigned to the chorus. She wore a plain borrowed costume. Her solo went to Amanda, who performed Maya's routine in her own cheaper outfit. Amanda did fine, but she didn't have the heart Maya would have brought to it. I sat in the audience, my mind racing. I made decisions as I watched Amanda dance. I was done being silent. 30 days later, the first missed mortgage payment hit my father's account. He called me, confused. Something's wrong with the bank, he said. They're saying my mortgage payment wasn't received. Did you check your account? I asked. Yeah, the money just isn't there. Must be a bank error. I'm calling them tomorrow. Good idea, I said. The next day he called again, panic in his voice. They're saying the automatic payment didn't process. Something about the originating account stopping the transfer. Do you know anything about that? Should I? I asked. There was a long silence. Claire, that money comes from you. For 5 years. Every month, Dad, $2,800 plus your property taxes plus your insurance. You really didn't know. He was quiet. I thought I was managing. The accounts always balanced out. They balanced because I was filling the gaps. Your business hasn't made enough to cover the mortgage since 2019. You've been living on my support. Why didn't you tell me? You never asked where the money was coming from. You just accepted it. Easier than admitting you needed help. Claire, I need you to restart those payments. Please. I can't lose the house. You should have thought about that before you laughed when Brenda ruined Maya's costume. That was just a costume. This is my house. And Maya's solo was just her dance recital. But it mattered to her. You chose to laugh instead of defend her. Now I'm choosing to stop paying your bills. Kay, you can't do this. Brenda doesn't know about the payments. If she finds out, Tiff, we lose the house, then you'll have a lot of explaining to do, I said, and hung up. The second missed payment hit at day 60. My father called 6 times. I didn't answer. He showed up at my apartment. I didn't open the door. At day 90, the foreclosure notice arrived. My father called from Brenda's phone. She was screaming in the background. You've been paying our mortgage for 5 years. You've been lying to me about money. I could hear my father trying to explain, his voice desperate. Claire, Brenda grabbed the phone. You have to fix this. Tell the bank it was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. You're going to let us lose our house over a dance costume? No, I'm letting you lose the house you never actually paid for because you destroyed my daughter's costume. And my father laughed about it. There's a difference. David, tell her she's being ridiculous. My father got back on the phone. Claire, please. We have nowhere to go. My credit's destroyed. I can't get another mortgage. We can't even rent anything decent with my income. You should have bought 2 houses, I said calmly. That's what responsible adults do. Have a backup for emergencies. I hung up again. My grandmother called next, trying to make peace. Claire, honey, I know Brenda was wrong about the costume, but losing their house seems extreme. Grandma, I've paid $191,400 for the house over 5 years. They never thanked me, never acknowledged it, never once defended Maya when Brenda was cruel. He just took my money and let his wife treat my daughter like garbage. He's your father, and Maya is his granddaughter. He made his choice. The house went to foreclosure auction at day 140. It sold for $365,000. Below market value because foreclosure sales always are. My father lost all his equity. The moving trucks came on day 173. They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment near the highway. From a house with a yard to a place smaller than my living room. Amanda had to switch schools. They sold furniture that wouldn't fit. Downsized their cars because they couldn't afford the payments. I heard all this through my grandmother. Was disappointed in me, but still called with updates. Brenda's furious, Grandma said. She's saying you've destroyed their lives over nothing. Over nothing. I repeated. Maya's costume cost $385. Dad's house cost him nothing because I was paying for it. I destroyed nothing. I just stopped building something, hadn't appreciate 6 months after they moved out. My father requested to meet me for coffee. EO agreed, curious about what he'd say. Hell looked older, tired. The stress of the past months had carved lines into his face. I'm sorry, he said immediately, for laughing. For not standing up to Brenda, for taking your help without acknowledging it. Okay, that's it. What do you want me to say, Dad? That I forgive you. That I'll start paying your bills again. I want to explain. Brenda didn't know about my financial situation when we got married. I was embarrassed. I kept up appearances. When your payments started coming through, I didn't questionate. I convinced myself I deserved it somehow. That you were doing well and wanted to help. I did want to help past tense because of one incident with Maya. No, because of 3 years of incidents with Maya. The science project, the jacket, the birthday cake. The costume was just the last one. Theon, where you laughed instead after defending your granddaughter, I made a mistake. You made a choice. You chose Brenda's ego over Maya's feelings. You chose to take my financial support while missing my daughter's pain. Those were choices, not mistakes. He stared into his coffee. Brenda and I are separating. She can't get past the money thing. Can't forgive me for the lies. Her family won't help us financial base. They feel I deceived her. I'm sorry your marriage is ending. Are you? I'm sorry you're hurting. I'm not sorry about the consequences. What about Maya? She's asking about me, wants to know why we don't see each other. I told her the truth that Grandpa let Brenda hurt her. And that taught Grandpa a lesson about taking people for granted. She's 11. That's too much for an 11-year-old. She's 11 and she need to know that people who love you should protect you. Not laugh when you're hurt. Better. She learns that now. My father left the coffee shop without finishing his drink. I sat there for another 20 minutes thinking about choices and consequences. A week later, Maya asked if we could drive past Grandpa's old house. Why? I asked. I want to see where they lived, where we used to visit. We drove past. A new family had moved in. There were bikes in the driveway, a swing set going up in the backyard, children's laughter coming from inside. Do you miss going there? I asked Maya. I miss Grandpa. Booty, don't miss how small I felt there. How Brenda always made me feel like I was less than Amanda. She looked at me. Did you really pay for their house for 5 years? And Grandpa didn't know. He chosen not to know. There's a difference. Why did you stop? Because watching Brenda ruin your costume and hearing Grandpa Law taught me something. It taught method helping people who don't appreciate only enables them to hurt you more. Maya was quiet for a moment. I got my solo back. You know, for the spring recital? Miss Jennifer said I deserved it. That's wonderful, baby. Will Grandpa come watch? I don't know. Do you want them to? Only if he promises not to low if something goes wrong. That's a reasonable boundary. My father did ask to come to the spring resto. I said yes, but with conditions. He could attend, but he'd sit separately from us. Heckled congratulate Maya afterward, but Brenda was not invited. He agreed. Maya performed her solo beautifully. My father cried during it. Afterward, Hay hugged her and told her he was proud. I'm sorry about your costume, he said quietly. The one Brenda ruined. I should have said something. I should have done something. It's okay, Grandpa. Mom Sasu, teach people how to treat us. He looked at me over Maya's head. Yes, we do. We didn't reconcile. Not fully, but we found a careful peace built on clear boundaries and hard-learned lessons. My father rented a small apartment, worked to rebuild his credit, and started being honest about his limitations. Brenda moved back to her hometown with Amanda. The divorce was skeet and quick. Sometimes my father asked if I missed the relationship wise to have before the costume, a fourth foreclosure, before everything changed. I told him the truth. I didn't miss being taken for granted. I didn't miss watching my daughter be treated as less than. I didn't miss being generous to people who mistook my kindness for weakness. What I'd lost was the illusion that my father would always choose family over pride. What I gained was the certainty that I would always choose my daughter over obligation. 5 years off mortgage payments bought me that knowledge. In the end, it was worth every penny.